What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Fear-Free Passive Investing, where we talk about passive commercial real estate investing. It's Friday, so of course that means we are doing our Friday Five, where we talk for 5 minutes, give or take, about things that are going to make you a better passive investor in commercial real estate. Now, today's show, I almost didn't make an episode about this because it's almost not worth it, and I'm a little late on it. But it's something that needs to be said because it has a general theme that I've been hitting on over the last, 6 months or so. But just to get right into it, I'm sure you have seen it. If you haven't seen it, there's a bunch of articles citing some data from the National Multifamily Housing Council about how nearly a third of U.S. renters didn't pay their April rent in full. Now on the surface, that seems so bad, right? Oh my gosh, nearly a third of renters just decided not to pay. The sky is falling. It's horrible. We're never going to recover, right? That's the headline that they want you to read. That's what they want you to click on. And that's what they want you to read through their article and that get their views, their ad revenue, and all of that. Now, I'm going to pick on the Wall Street Journal, but honestly, a ton of other publications picked up the exact same data and really used it out of context. And let's just jump right into it and I'll explain what I mean. Okay, so they're obviously making the correlation between the coronavirus or COVID-19 or the layoffs, whatever you want to call it. They want to make the correlation between that and them not paying rent, right? That's what's going to sell. That's what's causing panic and fear and all this. And so that's what's going to happen. Now, with most things in life, right, the devil is really in the details. And you start to read through this article and you really start to understand what I mean by that. And just look at this. So nearly a third of U.S. apartment renters didn't pay any of their rent in April during the first week of the month. Now that's according to the NMHC and blah, blah, blah. So only 69% of the tenants paid any of their rent between April 1st and April 5th. That's a big difference. So April 1st and April 5th. So the devil is right here in this particular detail. Anybody who can pull up a calendar can see that April 5th actually falls on a Sunday. Now, you might not know this unless you're an active investor, but most property management companies will say, now rent is due on the 1st of the month and it's due on the 5th of the month. If the 5th falls on a Sunday, it'll fall to the following business day. That's not what this data is showing. This data right here between April 1st and April 5th. April 5th was a Sunday, remember, so they still technically had 1 day left that Monday until it was considered late. So it's reporting data that's premature. It's not full. It's not complete yet. And they published it, right? I don't know why NMHC decided to put this out. Maybe they just jumped the gun, but really it was not something that you really wanted to put out with this. Okay, so fine. Maybe with that extra Monday, they'd get a few extra percentage and sure, let's just call it 71% or 72% of people paid their rent in full. What does that mean? That's still a huge jump, right? You're still missing that 25%. Like 25% of the tenants aren't paying their rent. Are you serious? Well, let's look at historical data because on average, most tenants don't pay their rent about 20% of the time. I can tell you from firsthand experience dealing with residential tenants, now multifamily commercial tenants, there's just a subset of people every single month, about 20%, that never pay their rent. Now they're just going to go through evictions or they work out a payment plan or something, but there's a subset of people that will always be late. So if you think about that, historically somewhere around 20%, okay, so the data is showing that only 69% of tenants paid their rent in full with a day left. So remember, we're going to see a small bump in that because people are actually going to pay on the last day. So somewhere around 70%, let's just be conservative and say 70%. The jump from 70 to 80%, which is the historical, sure, that's still bad. It's still down. It's still probably trending down. But the whole sky is falling. Only 69%, a third of people didn't pay their rent in full. technically it's true, but in reality, it's misleading. And I honestly believe that it was purposely misleading just to cause panic and alarm and create clicks and generate ad revenue for them and do what the media does. Which brings me to the real point of why I wanted to make this video and why I'm late on this and why I went back and forth so much. Like, yeah, this is one little article. It's not going to make a huge difference, but it is annoying. But it's an overall theme of how the media is manipulating you and me and everybody else in this world to believe what they want you to believe. As much as journalists don't want to admit this, their job is actually a job. It requires them to make money. It requires them to make their bosses money. And so when they write sensationalized headlines like this, and I don't know if this was Will Parker from the Wall Street Journal, or if it was the editor, or if it was someone else that made these headlines. Now, it doesn't matter. The idea was to cause panic and to cause fear and to create a situation where you would really want to click on that article so that you read that story. And that's the problem, because it was misleading. It wasn't complete data. It wasn't factual in a real sense. So media is going to do what the media is going to do, and how you choose to consume that is your business. But I am here to give you my take on this and hopefully give a new perspective. So hopefully that was valuable to you. I know we're probably going to go a little bit over 5 minutes on this one, but it was worth the rant. Anyway, I hope you're all doing very well. And if you're new here listening to the podcast, thank you. I really appreciate it. If you're watching on YouTube, I appreciate that as well. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We do tons of different stuff on both platforms. So if you want to listen to the podcast stuff, go ahead and do that. If you want to come learn and watch some YouTube videos, it's different content both places. So I really encourage you to check out both things. But anyway, I really appreciate it. I can't wait to talk to you next week. We've got some really good videos planned, basically on coronavirus stuff, how our buildings are performing, and what we're doing to navigate this tough time. So thanks so much. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll talk to you soon.